It's another Sunday night and another Sunday night in which we're going to tell you that the number of NAI football teams who are going to be trotting out the new head football coach in 2026, it's risen again. That number is 18 now. 16 of those have been filled. Oh, by the way, there are also a number of head football coaches in the NAI that are going to have the chance to hit some milestones with victories this year. And you know what? We also asked the question, will Doug be able to finish a broadcast with us? I don't know if if it's been above 500 in 2026. We'll find out all those questions. We'll try to answer all of them and more tonight as we bring in our special guest, Coach Josh Anderson from Dakota State. We're represented from Oklahoma, from Louisiana, from South Dakota, Madison to be specific. And if you are watching us live, then we encourage you, please take time to let us know in the chat, be a part of the community. Tell us from where you're watching and who you're going to be cheering for in 2026. Coach, first off, it's a privilege to get to visit with you again. I'm always excited to talk about Dakota State football here on the channel, and really that's not even a secret, I don't think.
Oh, good. I like that. I'm happy to talk about Dakota State as well. So I'm glad you are too. So, but I really appreciate you having me back on. I really enjoyed our last visit, and just the knowledge and the good questions and the things that you're well aware of. You're fun to talk to.
Well, thank you, Coach. I appreciate that. It got to be, and I know as some more members of the community may come on during this live broadcast, I will say that I was on the Dakota State train last year. I got on board early in the season, and that was even with that loss to a rival, and then you have one more loss to a very, very tough Ordigger team, I might add, and they had only one loss on the year. So I know you're probably not looking for moral victories, but those were a couple of tough ones. But other than that, 8-2, and if the playoff field were 24, and I know there's some talk about that, you guys are definitely in, but I still had you in last year. But let's talk about last year really quickly. 8-2 in 2025. And another year with that you didn't go through the whole year with the same starting quarterback. Just tell us a little bit about 25.
Yeah, you're right. Our starting quarterback who got hurt in 24 in the first half of the third game of the season, ended up being a season-ending injury, and he was recovering well, and things were going well, but he had some scar tissue issues, so it pushed it back 3 weeks. So our first two games we were without him. Luckily, we had a bye week, our third week. Otherwise, he'd have missed 3 games, and we barely got him cleared for game number 4 going down to Arizona Christian, but real thankful to have him back. And our first game, we didn't win the game. I would say we had a very, very good and unique game, but didn't win. And, that instead of pointing fingers, I was really proud of our guys and how they handled it and really focused on things that we did do well, things we didn't do well, and made sure we made the changes, not only mentally, but obviously, physically and schematically, and really responded well, because our second game against Nebraska Wesleyan, we came out and did much, much better, a lot cleaner on a little things, especially the special teams. And then we started our conference. Well, our conference play, but the first 2 games are cross conference because we're East and West, and so we got Arizona Christian, and then we played Southern Oregon. And so our very first Frontier Conference game, even though they were in the East and we're in the West, we got to fly a charter plane for the first time ever in Dakota State history, flying down to Phoenix. And I got a ton of personal family that are down there. My mom and dad, a lot of aunts and uncles and family, and even my wife's in-laws are down there. And so there was a lot of people that showed up for that game, and they kept asking all the time, like, geez, do you guys always travel this well? No, but we had a lot of people down there. So it sure did make for kind of a home field advantage. And it was just beautiful weather. We're lucky it wasn't super hot, but ended up coming away with a victory there. And then we had a real test with Southern Oregon. And at the time they were 0-3, but 3 losses were to Montana Tech, like Montana Western and Carroll. And they were a very good team, probably the best 0-3 team at the time. And we were lucky to come away with a 1-point victory. I think it was 11-10 or 12-11 or something like that. But just a grind.
Yeah.
An absolute grind right down to the wire. And it was a great thing for us because they're a national championship team. Like, they've won one, they've been in another one, and they're a very, very good program. So that was a huge build for us. And then we got to go out to Montana Tech, and that is a unique place to go play a football game. I don't know if you've ever been. That's about as nice.
I've been watching their stream. I mean, it looks like it's something else out there.
It's beautiful, but boy, what an environment they provide for their opponents. And so we got a little caught up in that. Probably didn't need to, but did. And we were expecting it because we just had heard a lot of things from a lot of different people, and you don't know it until you're in it. But boy, we kind of got a late start, but they were just too good anyway, And as we were talking previous, they're undefeated. Their only loss was the very last game of their year, which was in the playoffs, and so they're a dang good team. They're a team that we have to really push to recruit to try and be able to compete with and see if we can't get a victory. And obviously that's what we'll do. We'll do our best to get that done. And then the rest of the way out. So that was our second loss, and then we finished the season 5-0 and really did quite well. It was unfortunate because we kept being told that first loss against Dakota Wesleyan was such a bad loss, and that's honestly it's kind of degrading to us, but also degrading to Dakota Wesleyan to think that they're not good enough of a team for a loss to hurt us that bad. But that wasn't my choice. That's what we were told, and they're lucky we didn't get in the playoffs. We were playing very, very, very well, and we were rolling, and I think we would have made a really good run. But you know what? The name recognition wasn't there this year, and that just gave us the fuel that we need moving forward. Regardless of whether we made the playoffs or not, we're going to continue to work hard. It just gave us a little extra oomph in the offseason. And so our retention's been really well. Love the recruiting that we've had. We've been very, very selective, and that's nice because our retention's good, and we're only bringing in what we need. We're not just bringing in anybody and everybody, which has kind of been the way of the recruiting my first 16 years here and going on year 18. It's been a nice change. And with the facilities that we have, I don't know if you've never been here, but it'd be worth a trip coming on up. And now we're building an indoor facility with a year-round bubble. And I mean, our administration, our donors, our alumni, our community, they have really put an emphasis on helping out the Trojans in all sports. And so that part's exciting, really makes it easy to want to stick around too.
Well, Madison that sounds like a fun trip. It really would be cool. I think that would be neat
Definitely.
to get to do. And okay, Coach, first off, shout out to the folks in the community, Charles, Mike, Robert, thank you guys for being part of the broadcast tonight too. And Coach, I think that the community here would back me up when I say name recognition is not an issue on college football this week, because we definitely talked about the Trojans here early and often talked about the Trojans. I think one of the things that caught my attention as much as anything was just the way you all played defense. I mean, you had a lot of just strong, solid defensive athletes last year. I know some of them move on, but talk a little bit about that defense and who's coming back.
Yeah, we were very heavy with our leadership on defense. Our seniors, the majority of them were on defense. Offensively, we bring back all but 3 starters. And 2 of the starters started kind of because of injuries. Our center and our right guard got the start this year because of injuries. They stepped up and did a fantastic job, but we got those guys coming back. So really we're down 1 starter. And so pretty excited about our offense, but our defense was that way this last season. And so, yeah, there's quite a few that are gone, but we have had some good depth and good recruiting. So we've got some young guys that got a lot of playing time and just been waiting their turn and stepping up. And already in this offseason, the offseason lifting, the offseason player-led drills that we're doing, like, it's very exciting because that was a big question for us too. Was like, are we going to be all right? Where are we going to be? And they just stepped right in and took over. Some of our leadership on the defense is Tamarion Frosty Foster. He's a safety. He's had a couple years of injuries. We got to play the full season last year. Aiden Janes, and then rolling into Jordan Cooper at linebacker, Oscar Koistra, Josiah Perez, Caden Van Otterloo got a lot of playing time. Lucas Chamberlain. Elliot DeVries is a big man up front on the D-line, the D-ends and D-line. He's done a fantastic job for us. And then we've recruited pretty good into our defensive line. We want to try and be 3 deep. A lot of teams will go no huddle, and they'll try and go fast. So we got to be able to rotate as well and keep fresh legs as best as possible. So I'm really pleased with the recruiting that we've done. We just need to fill in some cornerbacks, but quite honestly, from D1 down, the cornerbacks and the interior nose and defensive tackles are the ones everybody's trying to recruit. So, but we've hit what we need. We're just a couple away, and we'll get it because a lot of them are trying to hang out and see how things go throughout the recruiting process through the spring and at the end of the spring. And we're already on a lot of them. We've already made the right offers, and we'll get what we need. And then just to circle back, you were talking about the playoffs. If we were a 24 playoff scenario that we'd have been in, we would have been. But regardless of it's 8, if it's 20, if it's 24, there's always going to be those 4 to 5 teams that are right on the edge, and the first one's out. And we were there that year, and so that's the nice part about the name recognition, because if we can get off to a good start this next season, we'll continue to build on that name recognition and be where we need to be. There was a couple teams that great name recognition in the past, like when we played Southern Oregon, they were 0-3, and they were still receiving votes because name recognition. Yeah. So it matters, and good for them, right? That's never a negative thing, and neither is the name recognition. It just is what it is. We're in the situation because of what we did in our past and the success that we either have or haven't had. So we have to continue to do our part, and we will.
Coach, you talk recruiting and you talk name recognition. What I've seen is a lot of the schools that we've seen that have been, and I consider that up north, of course, being a Louisiana guy, but you went out to 10 different states to sign guys, even as deep as Texas and down into Florida. How is your pitch that far down to somebody to, hey, come up and give Dakota State a shot?
Really, the biggest thing is getting them on campus. Every recruit is different. Obviously, we got to make sure, number one, we have their degree, right? And after that, if we do, then we really proceed on to the reference checks, making sure that they're not only a good kid, good leadership, they're doing things right, good families. Are they worth going after, worth trying to recruit? And so then when we get them to campus, then it just sells itself. The cost of campus, the kind of education they're going to get at Dakota State, it's literally second to none. It's such a low cost. Our facilities are better than most, if not all, Division II levels, and we're just blessed that way. So getting a chance to get them on campus so they can feel what we tell them. They can see it. They can see the body language that it matches the facilities and it matches the education, and they see that passion. Then we have a player panel, and we let them talk to the athletes with all the coaches being around. Like, they get the pure, genuine aspect of their recruiting trip. It's the biggest thing. We want to just be honest. I always tell them, hey, you might not like some of the answers you're going to get, but we're going to be honest with you so you can make the best decision for you. And it pays off big time. Just treating them like humans rather than a piece to the puzzle. Letting them know where they fit in, how they fit in, and what we're thinking. And it doesn't work every time, but it sure does help. So when we get them on campus, it's hard for them to say no.
And one of the things that I see, and look, the question too, before I forget about it, what do y'all do on October 31st? That we'll circle back around to that. But
they're hosting Mayville State, Doug, just so you know.
Yep. We're looking for a trip somewhere to go on October 31st. Joey and I are. So
Mayville State, they're a tough team. Coach Larson does a great job up there. But Mayville State will be here in Madison at 1 p.m. on October 31st. Just bring a Halloween costume for after the game. Go have a little fun. Downtown Madtown's a good time. So
downtown Madtown, I love it. So getting back to the question on those recruits, the bulk of what I've seen, and I think I saw that you had close to 40 that you got on campus between transfers and the high school guys come in. But out of those, over 30 of them were 3.0 and above players. So you're not just going after these big football players. You're going after high character, high quality.
Oh, absolutely. We don't. If we have to encourage you to do well in the classroom, we'll have to encourage you to do well on the field and have to show up on time for this or that, or study tables or in the weight room. But if you have the self-discipline to get the job done in the classroom and you understand time management, it's going to be very easy to explain to you how important the weight room is and why you need to be on time for this and why you got to do that. And so we also ask our guys to do a minimum of 30 hours of volunteer community service to give back, and they have to have those done before they can even practice day one of spring practices. And so
wow,
they're constantly trying to give back. We're trying to do just much more. Obviously, if they can go on and play after college, great, but that's hard to do at any level. We want to develop them for the next 40 years of their life, and that's not just coach talk. Like we literally do it. Whatever we say, whatever we recruit to, like we do it. We want to be honest and fair with those guys. And, they don't all make it through. Sometimes they, lose the love. Sometimes they get injured, but the majority of the time they stick it out. They're disciplined and they love football.
Coach, I love it. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. That's an easy question. I really appreciate you guys lobbing these softballs at me. These are easy questions.
I'm a softball guy.
Okay. Doug's been doing a lot of softball lately. If you check out 446 Sports, I think it's wall-to-wall softball right now.
Nice.
Except for Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Central. No,
that's correct.
We're talking college football, and of course tonight here with Coach Josh Anderson from Dakota State. Coach, your first trip through the Frontier Conference, and you mentioned a couple of divisional crossover games, and then you all had the Frontier East, which was made up of some familiar faces too, some of the North Star teams that came over with you. It's gonna, I would imagine, look the same for another year or two. Now I know Bismarck State's coming in 27. So that means 15 teams for the conference. So the makeup of the divisions may change there. But tell us a little bit about your first trip to the Frontier.
Well, it was everything that we thought it would be, honestly. It's a very aggressive, very tough conference. I mean, not just because we're in it, but it's arguably one of the best NEI conferences. There's not just 2 or 3 good teams. Sometimes you'll have those conferences that just have one powerhouse or maybe 2 and sometimes a third one in there. But, oh, man. It was every week. You just cannot take a week off. And then on the east side too, then you got Carroll over there. You got Montana Western. You got Southern Oregon, College of Idaho. I mean, and and Simpson and Arizona Christian. But then Eastern Oregon was in every game, and it was unbelievably crazy. Like College of Oregon, who went the furthest in our conference, barely beat Eastern Oregon. They had to block a kick. Oh, Eastern Oregon was going to kick a field goal. They blocked a kick and go score a touchdown just to win that game. It was a very competitive, very tough conference, and it was every week. Those games were just crazy, but that's what we wanted. We want to be a part of it because if we can put ourselves in line to win a conference championship, then we are in line to win a national championship, and that's the ultimate goal. So now we're in the right conference. The teams that came with us as well from the NSAA, same thing, right? They're stepping up their game. They're doing what they need to do, just like we are. And so we're happy to be in this conference. The travel was biggest concern, and it wasn't because our administration took care of us, made sure that we weren't sitting on a bus for hours on end, and then they opened it up to donors and families, and so they jumped on the plane with us, and they had packages out in Butte, Montana for a golf package for the families and donors, and then Arizona it was a 3-day event of fun. And so again, just our administration, our foundation, alumni, they're fantastic, and they understand the situation we're in and how can we make it the easiest as possible. Doesn't guarantee you win, but it gives you the best opportunity, and that's what they want.
That sounds like fun, Coach. It really does. Okay, let me say again as we start to wrap up our time with you. I know we'll get a chance to visit with you in a preview video a little bit later on, a little bit closer to summertime, and you'll have spring practices in the books. But let me ask you then: spring practices, where are you there? Have you wrapped them up? Are they in the future? What's going on now?
Well, we're starting tomorrow. This is the end of our spring break, and we're just coming off of that. We handed out the pads before we went to spring break, and so we start tomorrow with meetings, and then Tuesday will be our first practice. But that all depends on our women's basketball team. We moved everything up. We want to make sure we can get down to Sioux City. It's only 2 hours away, and we want to go give as much support to those ladies as possible. They're fun to watch. Obviously, they're in the Final Four. They're coached well. They play well. They've got great discipline as well. So. And our guys would enjoy that. So we'll go down there and support them. And if they happen to win, then they play on Tuesday night. And so we'll push everything a day back, and we'll basically start our first practice on Wednesday. So we're not going to sit up here and practice while they're down there playing in the national championship. I can guarantee you that we'll be there supporting them. So, but either way, either way, we're pumped for them. Obviously we hope for the best too, but we're going to be there to see if we can't push them along.
Well, I completely support that, Coach. I think that is absolutely the way you need to go about, and teams should support other teams there. One last question. I know we'll ask it again, though, for a preview, but 2026 schedule looks pretty similar, but you start off with a rival. Start with the D2 program this time, Black Hill State, no stranger to them. D3 program, you get Nebraska Wesleyan once again. Arizona Christian has to come in to Madison for this. And I think the thing I want to mention about that the most is you first 4 games, you don't leave the state of South Dakota. So that's not bad.
It's pretty nice. Yeah. Dakota Wesleyan will come to Madison. We were 5-0 here in our stadium last year, and it's tough to win in Madison. We've got a very good supportive crowd, and they travel well to Mitchell. They'll be traveling well to Sioux City tomorrow too. I can tell you that. But yeah, with Dakota Wesleyan and then with Black Hills State, when I first got here, they were still NAI and they were in our conference, and so been a minute since we've gone out there, but really looking forward to that trip. Our guys are super excited. For our spring game, we're actually going to go. It's a scrimmage practice, but we're going to go play Southwest Minnesota State, so another Division II program. And so our guys are very excited, very energetic about that one. They saw the Black Hills State was on there, and they're, either way, we just want to go be competitive. We want to play a good team that's going to get us ready for our conference, and Black Hills State obviously will be all of that. And then we got Nebraska Wesleyan at home, then Arizona Christian at home. And then our first flight next year will be out to Southern Oregon. And I've heard Ashland, Oregon is a beautiful place. And I've seen enough film on them. I cannot wait to go out and just check out that area too. And then we got Montana Tech at home and Dickinson State at home. And then we go to Valley City. And then you guys will be here for Mayville and then Rocky Mountain and then Montana Northern. Like, it just, you look at that schedule and you're like, oh, we've got to recruit some depth because it's going to be a long, grueling season. And we've done that. And we're pretty excited. Obviously, we will do everything we can. But, that's why you play every game.
Absolutely. Doug, any final thoughts for Coach?
Just one quick question, too. The history of that, what is it, the Commerce Cup or the Travelers Cup that you battle for on there? Give me a little history on that, on that trophy.
Man, I tell you what, it's littered with Dakota State University, and we had to give it up to them last year. And the cup is just a fun little bonus because we walked off that field. We broke a record I never thought would be broken. In a game, holding a team to 2 yards rushing, we held them to -7 yards rushing, but on 30 attempts, and lost. And it's like,
ouch!
What happened? We didn't get beat. We lost, but we walked off that field just scratching our heads and just like, what in the world did we do? Like, we have got to go watch this film, and that was painful. But you know what? You got to be able to go through hard things in life and regroup, and you'll find out your character of yourself and your team right quick. And we sure did, and got back to work and took care of business with Nebraska Wesleyan. So obviously, we cannot be looking past anybody. And that was the number one thing that we learned was like, okay, do not look past anybody. I don't care what their record is or anything like that. Like, we got to just play our football. And so I hate that we had to have that lesson, but it was a silver lining lesson that we took it to heart and made it work.
There you go.
And I'll tell you what, we're with this new bubble, we'll be able to play 2 softball games at once in there. So we're going to have a ton of softball tournaments. You bring some Louisiana teams up here, stay the night in Madison and be a part of our softball tournaments, man. You're going to love it.
Look, I'll be glad. We do about 100 softball games in 57 days. So there's a lot of it we do.
Wait till you tell your team in the winter you're going to go north to play softball. They'll be like, are you crazy?
Downtown Madtown's the place to be.
You come here in the summer, man. It's like a Hollywood movie around here on the lakes. And I mean, everybody's out at the lake, sandbars and live music and lots of restaurants and bars out there.
I'm in. You got it. That's right.
Yep. Sells itself. Come on up.
Say, you don't have to tell folks from Oklahoma and Louisiana that to come up to South Dakota in the summer. You don't say it twice.
That's exactly right. Yeah, throw me in the briar patch.
That's where that indoor will be nice too, because obviously we can stay away from the heat and humidity when that cranks up too. So,
well, Coach, listen, thank you so much for your time on a Sunday night. And again, we do our part here on college football this week to get name recognition for the Trojans. There is no doubt about that. And I look forward to seeing you all again. It's a tough lesson. Those kids will always remember that. You never look past anyone, and you guys went 8-1 after that tough loss. So looking forward to this season. Should be a fun season. Coach Josh Anderson with Dakota State, thank you so much for taking time with us tonight.
I appreciate you having me, and thank you very much. And we look forward to the future as well.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, when I send you the green room, just go ahead and exit on out, and we'll visit again soon. And by the way, tell Nick thank you for me. I appreciate him because I know he's got a lot on his plate right now too.
He does. I will let him know.
All right, there's Coach Josh Anderson with Dakota State, and we'll let him go on and enjoy his Sunday night. And Doug, hey, man, your signal's been great so far. We get a chance to talk to the folks in the community here really quickly before we go on to anything else.
And I get to talk with them instead of them talk about me. That's right.
All right, let's see here. Shout out really quickly. Charles, man. Charles, you got to let us know from where you're watching. Are you in Florida? Are you in Missouri? Where are you tonight? Would love to hear that. Florida, I would imagine. Mike is, I'm sure, in Florida tonight. Hello, Mike. And he gave a shout out to the Seahawks as well. Kaiser Seahawks, I'm sure. Even though it's okay to give a shout out to the Seattle Seahawks here on this show as well.
That's
we'll
do
that.
Past. That's in the past.
Robert. Good to see you again tonight in the chat, and I know you got to follow a little bit, catch up last time. Robert definitely doing that. Randy, get some looks from Coach Anderson and Coach York. Well, that's not bad. I'm sure that would be a really good place to get to be a part of too. Doug, I know you're looking ahead at the comments. We'll get to that.
The community is just hammering me tonight, and I love it.
Mike's, it does sound like a really good program, and no kidding, Mike, I have had a chance now to get to visit with Coach Anderson, I think 3 times. I have to tell you, I come out of that video. We record it, and then we put it online. I am always fired up. I really appreciate and he doesn't pull any punches either. And, I just enjoy getting to listen to what he has to say. Tool Envy tonight in the chat again tonight. Good to see you back, Tool Envy. Frontier's a monster in the making. I think there are a lot of folks that would say it's already a monster. But with Bismarck State coming in, and I know it's a first-year program, but still, that'll be 15-team league. Are you kidding me? Robert tonight in the chat, fired up about football, start back up with all the spring practices and upcoming spring games. I'll bet you are. And I know that you've got the boy in the weight room, too. He's probably ready to get out there and do something besides just lift those weights. Grandview and Northwestern have a spring scrimmage coming up at a neutral site. Fort Dodge? Seriously, in Kansas? Are you talking about Fort Dodge? Am I thinking of different? I'd love to. I mean, obviously they're in Iowa. Why would it be in Kansas? But I'm unfamiliar with Iowa. You're gonna have to help me out on that one. Doug sounds good tonight, and shout out from Mike and Tool Envy. Hey, Doug paid the bill. Well, good, Doug. Hate it when they cut you off on a Sunday night because you don't pay the bill, man.
How dare they? They're all the sidewalks up here too, so it's one of those things. Did you know that I can leave Alexandria, Louisiana at 6 a.m. and arrive? You probably can't see that.
I can't see it, but that's okay.
I can arrive in South Dakota by 11:46 that morning. That'll get me to the ball game for 1 o'clock, and we can be in downtown Madtown post game.
Yeah, and for definitely for Halloween to follow.
Yeah, oh my goodness!
Wow. Man,
I don't know. This is how crazy things start like that.
Okay, well, hey, listen, we know something. We know we're going to be somewhere on October 31st. We don't know where yet. Charles is back in Florida from Pennsylvania and Maryland. So, Charles, glad you're watching us tonight. All right, and the other question from Charles, when are you going to have Coach Stay back on? Okay, here's 2 things, and I'll answer this really quickly. First, I can't say that I know yet because we're still working through. We just try to get these coaches when they're available, so not all of them are available all the time. The second thing is, Charles, I am so just gun shy about when I say a coach is going to be on here because every time I say that, something has happened. Now I'm not speaking over it and say it's always going to happen, but man, even last week, I was so fired up and even made the thumbnail that said Coach Larson was going to be on the show, posted the thumbnail, and in North Dakota, they had snow and Coach Larson had to bail, just hours before. It wasn't his fault. So, but yes, I have been thinking about Coach Stayback, just to let you know, for all the folks in here, and this goes for everybody who is currently in the chat, okay, currently in the community. Every one of you all, I have been looking into getting your coach on that coaches who the team that you basically represent, just so you know. And as for Mike, we've already had Coach Russ on, so no big deal. But anyway, yeah, Charles, true story. I really have been thinking about Coach Stayback because I would love to hear what's going on. And I also am curious to see, with the draft coming up, has anybody up there that used to play for Graceland been getting some draft looks? So just curious about that. Tool Envy, Fort Dodge, Iowa, halfway between, I guess. I probably could have looked that up, but I'm glad you did anyway. I'm just, my state border's Kansas. So I always think about, man, we got to get out of Dodge. Well, there we are. We're at the half hour mark right now. And oh my goodness, Matt in the chat tonight. Going to bring the tricks to Madison. Okay, there we go. Matt says we need to go to Madison. Matt, if we go to Madison, I know Mayville State's going to be there. Are you going to be there, just in case? We have a lot of places that are on the docket. We know we're going somewhere, so we just have to know if you're going to be there. And, Coach Russ is great. And Coach Russ, by the way, was great. So thanks to everybody for being in the community tonight, being part of the chat tonight, whether you're watching us on Midwest Sports Net or 446 Sports. We really appreciate you. And you know what? There's some more college football to talk about tonight, Doug. Anything that we need to know about that you just take from Coach Anderson's visit really quickly?
And I try to watch a lot of the other interviews that they do. So two things. One, we don't ask the same questions that they're getting, and they don't get lulled into anything. But one thing that jumped out of everything that I've seen is just how genuine and just how down to earth and just how passionate that he really is. And you saw him talk about it, and he's got that all shucks type of look. When we asked him about the Travelers Cup game or the Commerce Cup or whatever they're calling it up there, and he was just like so frustrated. And you can see, man, the measure of a program is recruiting good kids, recruiting high character kids, going around, being able to have the facilities there. But you can tell that he's a guy that hates to lose more than he loves to win. And that's an interesting combination. It's got to really bother you to lose. And, man, you could tell it bothered him.
Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely did. And by the way, I'm going to pull this up. I think I recall this right, but let me pull it up just to make sure. I believe that was a 1-point game. It was a 2-point game.
16-14,
came down to a field goal at the end. Yeah, came down to the field goal at the end. And there were 2 missed field goals, I believe, that day for the Trojans. And that was, I did not see that one coming. I don't want to take away from Dakota Wesleyan. Seriously, don't want to at all. Think that Coach Kretschmar has a good thing going there. I think he's going into year 3. I think they have a good program, but I really thought that that was going to be that was going to go the other direction. So anyway, but they rebounded very, very well, and
that's a defining moment, and you see those all over the place. That could have either just really sank them, or it could have spun them around to finish 8-1 like they did. And man, that's exactly what happened to them. And so that just shows you those high character kids. That's what happens.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Mike, really quickly, I'll be in Northwest Arkansas, the NWA, in the first part of May, calling GAC softball up there in Bentonville, right around that Fayetteville area. We may have to check that out. I've got family around that Northwest Arkansas area too. Would love to go see some cousins. That may be a good time to do that in late May. Doug, let's get to what we talked about a little bit earlier. First off, the number of new head coaches has risen. New head coaches in 2026, as we had one announced on Monday, and that was down in Thomasville, Georgia. Thomas is going to have a new head coach as they are elevating Dan Pippen to the head coach position. So let me bring up a graphic really quickly, Doug, and let's just run through these because there's 18 of them now. We've been talking about it for a while. It might be good to just get to see some of these things and what it's all about. So let me see if I can pull this one up here, if it's the right graphic. There it is, right graphic. So, guys, let's just run through them really quickly. We have some time on a Sunday night, and the teams that are going to have new head coaches, and Doug, feel free to step in because I know this first one here, you know that guy, Arizona Christian. Jeff Bohm was there for 10 years, winning record there with the program, but Drew Maddox is stepping up there at Arizona Christian, and you know a little bit about Coach Maddox.
I do. He came out of the local, or not a local high school, but a high school out of Mendon, Louisiana. We did a softball tournament up there, as you can imagine, this year. But came out of the high school ranks and military background. And anybody that plays for Drew will actually just knock down walls for him. He's certainly recruiting the Louisiana area. There have been a couple of guys that have made their way out there. Heck, one of the coaches moved the family over there to go to coach with Coach Drew from LCU. So he's reaching in and grabbing kids, and he's reaching in and grabbing coaches, and he's going to be what Drew Maddox is out there, and that's a winner.
Absolutely. And he took him to his final year with the Wildcats, took him to the playoffs.
That's right.
It was a nice trip up there to Baker. I'm sure it wasn't the trip he wanted, but it was nonetheless. So we know a little bit about that one. Avila. Coach Derek Alexander there for, that says 5 years. I believe he was there for only 3 years. That's wrong. But new coach Ed Warner, who is coming in, one of the first coaches to get named into this new group, and has a lot of D1 experience, 4 decades worth of D1 experience. Army, Kansas, Ohio State, was part of a national championship team, I believe, with Ohio State, Michigan, Air Force, man. And this is going to be, with all that experience, Doug, this is going to be his first head coaching position. So a shout out to him there. Avila, of course, in the Kansas City area. And the thing I remember reading about him, and I think I said it at the time, he said he wants Avila to be Kansas City's college football team. That's a tall order.
But that's what you'd expect from a winner like Ed Warner. Yeah. I mean, that's just, you don't go in there and talk about wanting to rebuild. You go in there and confidently let folks know that, hey, this is it.
Absolutely. Well, that's who you want to be. So he's gonna get an opportunity to sell that. Briar Cliff. Shane Ledecky, after 5 years, is stepping out of the college coaching ranks to take over at a high school not far down the road there in Sioux City. Nathan Koziol, who was on his staff, been a part of the BCU staff since 2021, and he is stepping up to take over at as the head man there in Sioux City. And, you know, man, we've already talked about Sioux City tonight. Of course, that's a great place. That's a place I want to go, Doug, sometime, because they host the NAI women's basketball tournament once you get to the round of 16 now, and that's just the way it's set up. It used to be 32 there, but they've got it. So you're into the round of 16. You've made it to the final site. It's also the final site for NAI volleyball. So looks to be a really cool place, unless you are playing football for a team that's not called Morningside. That's been a tough place, I would imagine, to recruit. So I wish the best to Coach Koziol there and bringing kids in.
Yeah, and look, it's another hire that is on staff, and that's what you like, because it keeps consistency, and you'll see that throughout these that we talk about too. There's a lot of that keeping things safe, because kids need consistency. Parents need consistency in this day and age, and that provides it.
Absolutely. Campbellsville, the Tigers, Coach Jake Russell took this team to a quite a solid season this past year. Former All-American quarterback. He was there for 3 years, 21-11. We'll mention his name a little bit later on. Hunter Brown, an All-American quarterback for Campbellsville, takes over as well, joined the Campbellsville staff in 2019. And he's another person, just like Doug mentioned, you promote from within.
Well, and he's played there too, and that's the thing. You look at Ben McLaughlin here at LCU; his All-American banner hangs under there, and so that adds a lot more credence to these recruits that you're bringing in to these guys, and say, look, you know, I don't care about it, but I know what I'm talking about because there's a banner that says I lived it here, and so player there on staff there, and now the head man, and that just that bodes well for Campbellsville.
The Clark Pride. Up in Iowa, Clark, by the way, a women's basketball team, national champions not that long ago. I want to say within the past maybe 5 years. I don't know. It's been a while since I've visited with them up there about women's basketball. Adam Hicks, after 3 years, not just with the program. Adam Hicks was there when Coach Regalado was the inaugural head coach. He steps in. Part of the program since then, he is stepping out now for another opportunity. 6-27 in 3 years. It's tough. At Hart Conference is just tough to get some wins. Obviously, in the Hart North, you're going up against Grandview and more. But no replacement yet named in Clark. So one of two schools that's yet to name its replacement. And Doug, I think you know who that other school is, but we'll move on through here. Eastern Oregon, the Mountaineers under Tim Camp for 18 seasons, 91 wins. Solo Taylor is coming in as the new head coach. He joined the Eastern Oregon staff in 2022, and he also played the latter part of his collegiate career there at Eastern Oregon.
You know, Tim Camp, 18 years at a program is just is phenomenal. You put up 90 wins. Yes, I know that's a little bit under 500, but man, that's a legend. And the only thing I can say to Solo Taylor is don't try to be the next Tim Camp. Don't try to be a legend there. Just go out there and be yourself,
Exactly.
And start over from there and be your man.
Exactly. Here's that other team that has not named the successor to Coach Morgan just yet. Coach Quentin Morgan, 68-33, second winningest program in Langston history, and I believe that is behind only Coach Anderson. And if you know the name Anderson and Langston, that's who the stadium is named for.
That's correct.
It's a big name there. Big name there on campus in Langston, and we've talked about it. We believe they're going to make an announcement very soon, so we're just waiting for that announcement from Langston. Missouri Baptist under Coach Buryanak. He was the first head coach there, was there for 12 years, won 34 games. Coach Mark Lillibridge, who I've had the chance to visit with, and just a fantastic guy, Coach Lillibridge. The linebackers coach there in 2025, played in the NFL, and was a director of player personnel in the XFL and UFL, so he has a lot of front office experience, Doug.
Yeah, and it's unique to see. I don't know that I've ever seen a combination or a resume that looks like that. So I wish Coach Lillibridge is the best.
Yeah, and again, a fantastic person. I want to have him on my channel a lot because I would just love to get to hear more from him. Coach Phil Ockengay steps down at Peru State after 23 wins in 4 years. And you know what, Doug? Of course, he's replaced by Sean Wilkerson, who's been there on staff as a defensive coordinator for those 4 years. He was at Butler Community College in Kansas before that. Doug, it was tough for Peru State last year because they really had chances to win, and I think I mentioned it here on college football each weekend. Turnovers, and it cost them so many times. I mean, they were in that Grandview game, Tool Envy. If you remember watching that one, they had a legitimate shot to win that Grandview game, turnovers, and just in some other ones along the way, and it might be a different story if they don't have all those turnovers.
And it is. And look, that's a shame that there's so much instant gratification that's needed. You have some bad things happen like this turnovers, and man, the next thing you know that you're gone. And who's to say that a fresh start might do it? But I hate that the change is made there. But looking forward to Peru State to settle in and make big strides going on.
Tough part of the schedule. They have that Hart North schedule as well going on there. Rio Grande. It's tough for me, Texan by birth, to say Rio, but I am saying it. Rio Grande Red Storm. I'm getting used to it, Doug. I just am. Mark Thurston, who was there, and he actually had to step in there. An initial hire stepped out. Mark Thurston, who was going to be the defensive coordinator, stepped in. They went 0-9. They decide to scrap that, go a totally different direction. They bring in Mike Bartram, a former player in the NFL, played for the Eagles, played for the Chiefs, and actually played for Marshall, by the way, a Hall of Famer at Marshall, and was there, I want to say, 5 or 6 years in kind of a consultant type position. He's another guy like Coach Lillibridge, fantastic guy, and I'm hoping good things for Rio Grande.
Look, you get these guys that are former NFL guys. They're used to the business side of it. They're used to today's portal or transfer market or whatever you have, and they're able to come in there and do something. My only question for you, Joey, is what happens when you go down to the valley and you call it Rio Grande down there in Texas?
I certainly hope that never happens. I hope that I am 15 miles from the Red River. I hope to, and we go down there regularly. I mean, we'll go down occasionally, and because we like Buc-ee's is only an hour. It's an hour trip to get to a close Buc-ee's, and it's actually worth it. And we'll go down and we'll watch movies down there and all kinds of other things. I hope I never say that south of the river.
if I never go in another Buc-ee's in my life, I'm okay with it too. I'm not that guy. I don't want no Buc-ee's nuggets and jerky and I don't want the crowds and I don't want none of that. Sorry. Proudly brought to you
the
by
Nuggets. The Nuggets are that you lost me. You're right. They do say if you're unfamiliar, some of you guys are not familiar with Buc-ee's, but it's kind of a southern thing. It started in Texas, and it's the quintessential convenience store. Robert says Doug needs to rethink some things. So
Absolutely.
That much is certain. Okay, let me bring one up here. This one is good. Tool Envy said that Grandview deleted the black uniforms after
to recover from that injury.
After the Peru State game. We don't need that again. You know what? Listen, that was oh man, I was watching that game. That was something else. I really thought Peru State might just pull that one off. And again, some turnovers. So there we go. All right. Doug needs to rethink some things. Tooling going back to the tomato. Buc-ee's is legit. Mike, even there's some Buc-ee's over near in Mike's neck of the woods too, I think. So that is all right. Yeah, Tool Envy, you had to be sweating it that night. You really absolutely did. And props to Grandview. No, I'm seriously, fantastic season. But that was one of those games. By the way, the Mid-American Nazarene game, similar. And those, I think, were back-to-back games. And man, once they got past those, I don't think anyone else stood a chance that Grandview was playing all season. I really don't. All right, let me go back up, Doug. I got distracted off of Buc-ee's there.
That's right.
Rio Grande. Rio Grande, Red Storm. That's how they say it in Ohio. So, and by the way, and I want to point out, I am not at all mocking that. Not even a little bit. It's just different for me. It's just absolutely different for me. Let's move on there. Rocky Mountain, Chris Studstream moved on, and he took over at Bismarck State. He was there for 7 years, 29 wins there. Randy Bandelow takes over on the staff at Carroll College for the last 7 years, defensive coordinator for the last 4. So definitely well familiar with the Frontier Conference. And, Carroll College, wow, what history and what a great program that is, and most recently under Coach Purcell.
I've always been a fan of defensive-minded guys coming in and getting things done in a world where everything is spread out and fast tempo. And you even, we talked about it earlier about fast pace and all of that. Bringing in defensive guys and getting your defense settled sure makes a difference. Absolutely,
it does. So Coach Bandelow there, St. Mary, the Spires under Coach Henson for the last 6 years. Taylor Calvert coming in. He's an alum. And so he's been the offensive coordinator the last 5 seasons. He'll have a chance to take over that head spot there. So here we go. Simpson, the Red Hawks. 2 seasons the Red Hawks have had a program, both of them under Coach Sean Daniel, and did not have a win there. So Coach Trevor Utter, who has been the wide receiver tight ends coach, has been promoted from within there at Simpson. Another one, Doug, like you mentioned.
It was one of the, 4 winless teams that were out there. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk a little bit about them, I know, this evening as well. But I really like Coach Trevor Utter. I like him a lot based on what I've seen, based on what I've heard, based on what I've researched. Yeah, I can't wait to talk with him sometime.
Southeastern, Adam Waugh there for 4 years, solid record, and he moves on. And a number of his staff going different directions. Coach Jake Russell bringing in his own staff there. We just mentioned him. 3 years the head coach at Campbellsville. So he's not going to be on the sidelines for the first time as a head coach, but he'll be there in Lakeland for the first time as the head coach. So an interesting turn there in Lakeland.
Yeah, and being able to bring your staff in with you allows you to do what you want to do immediately. And you always wondered what they're going to do. Are they going to retain a staff? Are they going to try with a new one? He brings the staff over, and I think that's the right move.
Yeah, and that's going to bring us to one here in just a moment. So I want you to keep that thought in mind, Doug. St. Thomas, Bill Reichel, the head coach there for 7 years, and he did well. I mean, flat
Yeah.
out, the Bobcats in a short period have become a household name if you are familiar with NAI football. St. Thomas will now be led by Drew Davis, who has been at St. Thomas the last 4 years. The last two as the quarterback coach, excuse me. He was also a tight ends coach for a number of years at Florida International under head coach Butch Davis. And you might be familiar with that name, Butch Davis, as I'm sure you are, Doug, because of the part of the country that we live in, and there are a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans around here. Now, I know Butch Davis has done more than just coach the Cowboys. He was in Arkansas. He's at Florida International, different places. But in this part of the country, a lot of folks remember him because he was the DC here and a part of that big Dallas Cowboys run.
Look,
you don't like him, do you?
No, I don't at all. But it's okay. That doesn't get away from the fact of you get Florida. Look, there are so many athletes in Florida that they run out of schools to go to, and being able to hang on to them and knowing the area and knowing this, and the facilities at St. Thomas are great. Everything. It's a prime program to go to, in spite of the whole Cowboys thing. But anyway. I'm making no friends tonight.
That's all right. That is, and listen, okay, so just so people know, where do your NFL loyalties lie?
Who dat? We're Saints, dude. And look, you can say what you want, and I've got the bags that we've worn on our heads for all those years, but it doesn't matter. And I'll tell you, and so a story that you don't know. You know that I am from Oklahoma, was born in Oklahoma, lived in Texas a lot, and was a Cowboys fan for a long time. And they went in and they fired Tom Landry, and I said, never again. We moved to Louisiana, and go Saints go.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we clarify for everyone watching. They fired Tom Landry, so you moved to Louisiana.
Yes. Mom and Dad, we picked up and we left, and I said, no more. We're not doing it anymore. That's right. No more. And they don't even think they had Buc-ee's back then.
No, they did not. They did not.
That's
have
right.
It. That's
so,
all right.
No, that's correct. It was. I remember the Thanksgiving Day games with the Cowboys and the Redskins, and I mean, it was a lot of fun. But it even had the Tom Landry comic book. Okay.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah. See. So,
I
once Jerry came into town, that was it. Texas wasn't big enough for the both of us.
Robert is in agreement with you, and Robert's in Oklahoma, and he agrees with you.
Thank you.
Jerry Jones gone before he keeps supporting them. I understand. I get it. That's fine. I'm just saying. I'm glad I have my Seahawks as a team I can cheer for as well. So Drew Davis, the new head coach in at St. Thomas. Here's one, Doug, as we're wrapping up this part of the program. Texas Wesleyan. Coach Sherrod moved on after 2 years, 17-6. Props to him. Did a great job in his 2 years there in Fort Worth. Fran Johnson, still with the program. He's been the offensive coordinator, Doug, under two different regimes, under Coach Sherrod and Coach Joe Prudhomme, who was there, and Texas Wesleyan saw success under both of those administrations, and they're saying, hey, guess what? We're going to give you an opportunity, Coach Johnson, and let's see what you could do. You've been faithful and loyal to the program.
Well deserved. Certainly the great offenses there at Texas West. There's no doubt about it. Tremendous facilities. Great place to draw from. The name is there. You talk about name recognition of a Dakota State. Texas Wesleyan has it down here. There's no doubt about it. That is a perfect fit for a perfect program.
Absolutely. Thomas, the Nighthawks, under Coach Vincent Davis. He was there for 1 year, and he follows another person, Coach Mitchens. This is going to be three coaches in 3 years now at Thomas. Dan Pippen steps up. He was the past 2 years a head coach in the Polish Football League. He was the co-offensive coordinator in the Sun Conference team at Weber International in 23, and prior to that was over in Europe some more. So this is an interesting take for a military. It's not military based, but they bring in a lot of military college kids that have that experience and want to play football. I'm not saying that exactly right, Doug, but I hope I got it across.
I just, two coaches, 2 years, 0-11. I wonder what's going on inside the program. That's the only thing.
It's a new one. It's a new program and another team that went 0 for last year. Waldorf, who Waldorf is now, I think, on a 24-game losing streak. They've lost their last 21. Went 0 for the last 2 years under Coach Chapa there, and it says 2 years. He was there for 4 years. I think I was thinking about the last 2 years that he was there. No, that's right. Anyway, new head coach David S. Callaway, defensive coordinator at Missouri Valley last year, defensive coordinator at D1 Arkansas Pine Bluff the 2 years before that, and he was the head coach at Central Methodist, and they made quite a run when he was the head coach there in Fayette. So the Eagles did well, and also at Kingsville for a number of years as well. Lone Star Conference team down there. So Coach David S. Callaway in at Waldorf, and that is 18 schools, Doug. That is a lot of head coaches. And you know what? Spring and summer ain't over yet.
No, it's here, but it just tells you, and I'll double down on the fact that if you're going to hire somebody now, it's going to have to be somebody from inside. That's just, you're going to lose your team if you don't keep somebody already on staff.
Yeah. And the ones who are there, there are folks who are waiting their opportunities too. And Coach Koziol, props to him, by the way, Briar Cliff. And he mentioned, and I think I said this last week, I want to make sure that I don't want to repeat myself too much, but he had mentioned
I didn't hear
in
it.
an interview. Do what?
I didn't hear it last week.
Okay. He mentioned that, look, he was looking at other places. He wanted to step up, and try his hand at being a head coach. And the opportunity opened up right there at home for him at Briar Cliff. So, I'm sure there are some folks in many of these schools where, the opportunities there. Shout out, or really quickly, Tuolavi thought Southeastern was gaining some traction. Yeah. And it seemed like they were. I don't know the reasoning for the change on that, but I agree with you. They had a couple of opportunities. I thought they seemed to be excelling. Both of the last 2 seasons, 24 and 25, Southeastern seemed to be doing well latter in the season, that if they had just had an opportunity to make a run, they could have. I think that's my take on that.
All right.
So, all right. Let's see. Here we go. Speaking of Graceland, and we were a little earlier, taught the current backup for the Cowboys how to throw the deep ball years ago at Edgerrin James' house. How about that? Edgerrin has a summer camp every year. So we're going to be talking some C.J. Brooks football on here, I know, at Graceland a little bit later on. But we will get Coach Stayback on here. I can't guarantee it, but I'm going to come as close to guaranteeing it as I can. And Southeastern and St. Thomas both had great seasons. They did. Mike, I agree with you. They really did. Kaiser's a buzzsaw.
Yeah.
I mean, they just are. I think it's really cool, by the way, both St. Thomas and Kaiser, both of them programs that are less than 10 years old. And they're both so good that they brought in the right people, got the right support. And Coach Anderson was talking about administration, what that does for a program, and having the right people up there and the support. Wow.
And look, that's one of the concerns, just from the not concerned any longer, but that was one of the problems with LCU, is that the administration prior to Dr. Johnson that's there now, let's just say that Dr. Johnson is a driving force behind what's going to happen the next few years at LCU, and administration means everything.
It absolutely does. Charles, would I bet the barn? I will bet the barn. We're going to get Coach Stayback on here. I am just going to bet the barn.
What was your record in Bet the Barn, though?
We don't need to talk about what the record was. We just say I'm going to do.
Boy, where have I been these last 3 weeks?
Oh, and Kaiser's going to be a great team again this season. They sure are. There's no doubt about that. Man, Coach Russ, 24-2, I believe, 26-2, 26-2.
And such a great guy.
He is. And we like him a lot. We'd have him back on the program. All right, guys, I know we're closing in on the hour mark, so Doug's throwing some shade. I don't think Doug, if Doug can't be on more than, say, a third of a program in 3 weeks, I don't think he gets to throw shade. He has to.
It's just, do you know how, like, if it's raining during spring break and your kids have to stay inside, when they get back to school, it's just chaos. Well, that's what's happening. School's back in.
That's what it is.
And it's chaotic.
Man, Coach Anderson mentioned spring break's over, and it is here too. I have to go back to class tomorrow. Oh, man. That's all right. I enjoy my kids. All right. I was just saying, we're nearing the hour mark. Hang tight for just a little bit, guys. There are two more things we wanted to talk about tonight, and one of them Doug alluded to a little bit earlier. So of the 18 teams that made changes in the head coaching spot, 4 of them were the 4 teams that went winless in 2025. And those 4 teams are, and let me bring this back up here. Well, one of them's Waldorf. Rio Grande was one of them. Simpson was one of them. Thomas was one of them, and Waldorf was one of them. Waldorf's gone 0 for the last 2 years, and Simpson's gone 0 for the last 2 years. So my question to Doug and community, feel free to jump in on this one. I don't know, this could be a Bet the Barn segment later on, okay? Which of these 4 teams will win a game first with the new administration? And I'm not even saying it's going to happen in 26, but which of these 4 teams will win a game first? So you've got Rio Grande, and here's their record for this coming season. Start off at Defiance, get a bye week, and Lindsey Wilson, not easy. Cumberland, not easy. Duquesne, D3, and then the AAC portion of the schedule, the Appalachian Conference. Then you have Simpson. Here's their schedule. Start off against Southern Oregon again, Whittier College, D3 school. Then the Frontier portion, you got 2 crossover games, and then the Frontier Conference West. Okay. Thomas, schedule's not out yet, Doug, so we know that at least one thing, they'll get the Sun Conference, and that means Kaiser, Southeastern, St. Thomas. We've already mentioned them.
Right.
Wow.
That's
and
tough.
Then Waldorf, the Great Plains schedule, Morningside, Northwestern, Concordia. Oh, man. You just go on and on and on right there. So which one of these 4 teams? I know who I think. And Robert is already saying Waldorf, they're just due because they're in the midst of a 24-game losing streak. I actually have this on here somewhere. No, it's on another. I'm not going to pull that up right now. I think it's 24. We know they've lost 21 straight for sure because that's the last 2 years. Robert says he's willing to bet the barn on it. He says Waldorf is going to be the team to win one first. Mike says it's Thomas. Doug, what say you?
I say the Red Hawks of Simpson University are going to do it. And I tell you, I told you earlier that I like Trevor Utter. I like him as a head coach. I like what he talks about. And the last quote from him about this is, my purpose is to share the love of Christ. My avenue to do so is coaching football. And if that doesn't tell you that, you know what, that's the one to get on board with, that's it. I'll go Simpson.
All right. Doug is on the Simpson train to be the first team of this group to win. So, well, you know what, guys? Since you hit all the other 3, I'll tell you who my pick is. I think Rio Grande is going to win a game first. And I realize they're 0 for the program since they've restarted things. I really like Coach Bartram. In the same way probably that you're talking about liking Coach Utter, Doug, I like Coach Bartram. I like the way they're recruiting. I think that there's a lot to recruit in that Ohio area up there, right around the West Virginia area. You get over you can pull some kids, Indiana. I think that they're getting kids that are going to be good for that program. And I think that their schedule, maybe not all of it, but I think their schedule is just a little bit more favorable to just pick somebody off, get an upset in there somewhere. And I would say any win at this point for Rio Grande is going to be an upset. I mean,
Correct.
If you're coming in 0 for the program, obviously, you know, just about everyone is going to be a favorite in a game like that. But I think there's 1 or 2 in there that could be picked off.
Look,
So
and
that's my take on that.
So that's the beauty of it too. And we've got to make sure that we've got previews on all 4 of our guys that we've picked this summer too. Got to make sure that we get Rio Grande in there and Simpson and Thomas and Waldorf and all of them get a little shot on there. There's not anybody going to be pumping up Coach Trevor Utter more than this guy.
No, I believe that. I absolutely believe that. And I look forward to getting to visit with him when that time comes. Okay. Doug, I mentioned one other thing. There's some coaches that could get some milestone wins over the course of this season. So I don't have a graphic on this one. I'm just going to throw a bunch of names out and see if the folks in the chat like this. And that includes a gentleman that we spoke to already tonight. So milestone wins, once we get through some of these big names here or big numbers here, I'm going to go as a milestone win coming in an interval of 25. Okay?
Okay.
So here we go. Steve Ryan. Oh my goodness. Morningside. Coach Ryan is 249-50 in Sioux City. He actually, before that loss in the playoffs, was 249-49. He had 200 more wins than losses, Doug.
Wow.
That is just that's like a video game number. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
So anyway, his first win will be win number 250. So we'll see how that works out. And I didn't even see who Morningside's playing first on the schedule. If Dave were watching tonight, Dave could probably tell us pretty quickly who Morningside plays first.
I'm betting the barn that he gets it this year. How about that?
We may put that in the first week. Will Coach Ryan win one game in 2026?
That's right.
So there we go. Coach Mike Feminist, 227-91. Coach Feminist looking to win 230, I believe, over the course of the year. That's probably going to happen. Dennis McCulloch, coach there at Valley City State, 168-122. I think he'll get 170, pretty sure. May even get 175. But that's a tough ask in that Frontier Conference East. So we'll see. Now to some others who are a little closer to some milestone wins here. Coach Mike Gardner at Tabor, in his second stint with the program, he went 20-3 in his first 2 years there in 2004 and 2005. Now he's in his second stint, and during this second stint, that is not easy to say, by the way.
Right.
Second stint. He is 97-72. I think the Blue Jays get at least 3 wins this year.
Yeah, definitely. And look, 100 is such a great milestone. Another thing that's difficult to say is Doug's right, and I agree with Doug, but Randy's in the comments just killing it. So there you go. There you go.
Yeah, I enjoy saying Doug's right most of the time.
Most of it. That's right.
Not all of it, but that's all right. They look like there were a couple of games, Randy. There were a couple of games I thought they had a chance, and they struggled on offense. There was a lot of struggle on offense last year for that Simpsons team. So that was a tough one. All right, a couple more that could win 100 games or get 100 at their current school for sure. Matt McCarty at Northwestern, 96-26. I think there's no doubt the Red Raiders get 4 wins in 2026. Coach Pete Stanton is 95-29. If you'd have told me that Dickinson State was going to go 3-7 last year, I would have bet the barn against that. I definitely would have taken all the money and put it on the against on that, whatever that is and however that means. And they sure did. The Blue Hawks 3-7. It was just a tough year. Didn't go Coach Stanton's way. I think they right the ship. I think he hits that 100-win milestone in 2026.
Yep, I agree with that. No doubt.
So, all right. Could get number 75. Here are some coaches. Coach Joe Curry at St. Francis of Illinois, 74-70. I think he'll get win number 75. Josh Anderson, 73 wins at Dakota State. I think he'll get 75 this year. Joel Penner with 73 wins at Dort. I think that one's gonna happen as well. Coach Karras at Marion could hit 2 milestones, Doug. He has 73 wins in his time at Marion, so he could get 75 there. He has 97 wins overall as a head coach, so he could get 100 overall. So there we go. All right, and we're going to wrap this up here. Coach Brad Griffin at Southwestern, 72-48. I think that the Mound Builders help him get to win 75. Chuck Hepla has 71, already the winningest coach at Evangel. He could get 70. Joel Osborne in his first 5 years at Benedictine has 50 wins. So how about that? Average 10 wins a season for Coach Osborne.
Right out the chute. That's great.
And one more really quickly, Coach Patrick Daberco. Concordia. He's 47 wins, and I think the Bulldogs are going to get at least through this season. I bet Robert would agree with me on that. So there we are. Doug, any final words as we wrap things up?
No, look, I can't wait another 3 weeks for a great show like this, too. This was a lot of fun. The community is just on fire tonight.
Yes, absolutely. Thoroughly enjoy it, guys. Really, really thank you all for watching. We are going to get out of Dodge, whether it be the Dodge in Kansas or the Fort Dodge in Iowa. We're going to get out of Dodge one way or the other. Great to get to visit with Coach Anderson tonight. We will be back next Sunday night as well. And I think I have a trip to Topeka in between this week and next week. Doug, you have a lot of softball, correct?
We do. We'll be at home tomorrow night for – what do I have tomorrow night? Oh, Menard and Sterlington play. And then I'm up for probably the biggest game in the state of the year on Tuesday night, which is a team that's won 5 straight. They've got the nation's #1 prospect. They've got the #1 sophomore in the state, and they battle that Melissa, Texas team for that top national ranking a lot. But Calvary and North DeSoto will play. And man, we've got a lot of them in a big tournament coming up this weekend. So yes, we'll probably do 15 softball games this week.
I enjoy it. Shout out to 446 Sports. Go ahead and watch them. We'll be in Topeka for the NAI National Cheer and Dance Competition on Friday and Saturday. There may even be a Mrs. Midwest Sportsnet sighting. I can't say for sure. I know you guys have to go. We have to go here as well. It is always a privilege, community. You absolutely are the best, no doubt about it. Thanks again to Coach Anderson for being with us tonight. Who knows who we'll have in the future, but we're going to try to get all those coaches on here for these live shows as well. Thank you to all of you guys. God bless you all. Appreciate you watching, and we will see you all next week.